Okay, well, gonna do something a little different today. For those of you that have been following along, you know that we made 20,000 subscribers just recently, and today I wanted to make a video for all the subscribers out there. So, gonna go over a few things here at first, and then I'm gonna jump into some questions and answers that you all have asked. So first, 20,000 subscribers. That's 20,000 human beings on the planet that our message has touched, has gotten through to, and that's amazing. I never thought God would give me an opportunity like that, so that's pretty awesome. I'm very, very grateful first for God and the blessings that He's given us. I thank Him most of all. Really, the person at the top of our list for thanks is Wrangler Star. Cody and Mrs. Wrangler Star, thank you so much for the mentorship that you've given us, for pushing us to do YouTube. You're a great mentor, you're great friends, and you're great neighbors, and we're blessed to have you next door to us. So thank you so much for all your assistance in learning and setting this up. It's been successful, so thank you. Well, you can't get 20,000 subscribers unless you have subscribers, so the next thanks goes out to all of you out there. Without you guys, we wouldn't have 20,000 subscribers. That's pretty easy. So we appreciate you telling your friends. We appreciate you watching. Really, really quite thankful for all the collaboration that's taken place on the website. There's been negative feedback, there's been positive feedback, and all of it is great feedback. Sometimes it's hard to take the negative ones, but that's just what happens when you put yourself out there, just being honest and transparent with you. But I appreciate them because it makes you think. It makes you think about what you should have done. Did you consider this? Did you do that? And you know, this is a prototype. This is our first prototype. We hope to be able to build a second one. That's what we call Phase 4, Habitat 2. And hopefully we'll be able to build that sometime in 2019. Or maybe 2018 if everything goes the way I really hope it goes. So thank you to all of you out there. Thank you to all the subscribers, and for your family and friends, everyone out there who's helped us get here. Thank you for that. To my family, to my wife, wow, we couldn't do this without her support. So everybody thank Mrs. Martian, because without her, that's not possible. And we've had great support from the family. So thanks everybody. I think that takes care of my thanks. The next thing I want to talk about is a lot of you who are new subscribers don't know that we actually have a GoFundMe account, and some of the subscribers have taken upon themselves to help you find that. But we do have a GoFundMe, www.gofundme.com/TheMartian. So trying to get money to help buy equipment and stuff that we need to make the improvements that are being suggested by everybody. So if you have time, if you have the ability, your donations are appreciated. As part of the run-up to 20,000, we did do a GoFundMe to help get computer upgrades. I'm happy to say that those items have been procured. They're on their way, and I'm looking forward to getting it set up and take a video of which brand of laptop we actually chose to go with. So I'm excited to get that to all of you. Patreon. Wow. We have some awesome Patreon supporters. Really thankful for all of you contributing monthly to help us continue to do this. Our goal on there is $12,500 a month. That'll allow us to really do this full time and to start making some upgrades to the system to execute what we call Phase 2 and Phase 3. Phase 2 is when we put all the automation into the building, and Phase 3 is when we actually finish building 1, which means putting all the rows, all the shelves onto each of the lanes that we have, putting in lane 1 and lane 4, and finishing automation for all of that. So without patrons like all of you that have signed up for Patreon, that probably wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much. With 20,000 subscribers, that means that if less than every one of you went out and gave $1 a month, we would really be able to do this. So if you can, go to our Patreon, sign up for $1 a month. Again, it's just a little over half of you if you went out there and gave us $1 a month, we could really make it happen. So, you know, I know I talk about money a lot, and again, for those of you that are new to the channel, you have to remember that we did cash out retirement to do this. We put all of our money on the line to really make this happen, and we really truly believe in it. So I don't say it lightly. I'm not just shamelessly asking for money. We just need help. So let's see here. We've had some downtimes, and you all were able to follow us through those, but I'm really happy to report that we've had some success. The phoenix has risen, you might say. First of all, our crop loss wasn't as bad as what we had thought. A lot of the plants that wilted actually survived. Some subscribers actually pointed that out, that you can trim off some of the ones that wilted, and the main root and stem will actually make it, as well as some of the core leaves, and believe it or not, they did. I'm really happy to report that production row, we've moved it all over into lane 2, which is where I'm at right now, and it is doing very, very well. So we should be able to make our delivery to our customers even through this cold. It was 1 degree Fahrenheit outside this morning, and here I am inside, sitting down in a nice, comfortable 42-degree grow lane, and I've only had the heater on for about 20 minutes. So I'm really, really happy about that. Heat. So yeah, we went through a lot to figure out heat. We talked about the ABCs of triage, airway, breathing, circulation, and how if I stopped and dealt with the insulation right now, everything would die, and that's simply not an option. We made it. We did it. We have heat in here. It's a temporary solution for this year. I look forward to redesign and optimization for next year, but we got the airway clear, you might say, and now we're able to start focusing on insulation, which I'm going to do some videos on. We are going to turn to insulation now. Basically, we got the heat in here. Now we got to keep the heat in here, and that's just like you know, a person bleeding. You know, if the person's not breathing and their blood's coming out of their leg, you don't sit there and deal with the blood first. You deal with the fact that they're not breathing. So that's how we triaged it, for right or wrong. That's what we did, and now it's time to start really focusing on that insulation. So we've had success there. So let's see here. What I got, I think I got some questions. This is a question and answer segment, so let's go ahead and get started. Ernest Ben wants to know, what about wind turbines for future consideration? He's seen a design based on old Egyptian grain mills, using 3 blades in most applications in modern wind farms. So Ernest, first, thanks for your question. We do want to do wind. We have poured a 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. That's a little bit over a meter by a meter cement. I won't call it slab. I call it a cube. Put it in the ground and put rebar supports in it to mount a wind tower to. We just simply ran out of money, so maybe that's something we'll do on our next GoFundMe, is put that up. Thanks for your question. We do want to do it. I have noticed on our site though, Trong God 2000 asks, I probably missed it, but why don't you're not using wind for electricity? Again, we didn't have the money to finish it, but also I noticed that in the summer we got tons of wind, but in the winter not so much unless there's a storm. So I think I'm going to put, before I go invest in a wind turbine, I'm going to go put a wind measurement device up and actually capture the wind. We might delay that a little bit. Solar is definitely a better option for us right now, but wind is something we want to do as well. So great question. Abe W asks, why not use one forced air heater and duct in both lanes? There's a few answers to that, Abe. First, again, thanks for submitting your question and subscribing. Central air requires a fairly large amount of electricity in order to move the fan, and we only have 40 amps and 120 volts available to this building. We don't have 240 volts out here. You might be asking the reason for that. The reason for that has to do with cost of cable to run to this site, as well as the fact that pretty much our location is maxed out as far as energy goes. So the electrical company would have to come put a much larger service station to us, and that's a lot of money that we just simply don't have. So it's a great question. It's also the same reason why we don't have a heat pump. A heat pump is definitely the best way to heat this building, but that system takes a lot of electricity, and we just don't have it available. So if you had the heat pump on you could create a 240 volt circuit and it would run less than 40 amps, but then all the lights and the heater fans and everything that we have going, the pumps, we'd probably have to turn off. I think maybe there's a way that I could do some more engineering, some more math, and I might be able to come up with a concept of operation where maybe we use the heat pump, turn the lights off, use the heat pump, turn the lights off, kind of, you know, just like they did on Apollo 13, you know, very careful what we turn on at the right time. So, great question. Dogboy708 asks, why did you choose to go with a flood and drain system instead of a continuous flow system for your aquaponics setup? Well, Dogboy708, thanks for your question. That answer has to do with the little red wigglers. So when I was studying aquaponics over the run-up to this project, it seemed like you know, a lot of problems with fish waste. It still accumulates in the system, so you got to have a way to get that out and then to deal with it. And our solution is to use little red wigglers to eat the actual solid fish manure. And those little red wigglers, the little worms, they're itty bitty little things, they're inside of the grow beds, and they need something to live in, not just water. So the rocks are there primarily for that purpose. I wasn't a big fan of the raft system. You have a lot of cost there, and in hindsight I could probably sharpen my pencil some more and really look at the cost, but I think the key thing there is that we want to be able to have those red wigglers eat the fish waste rather than having to clean the ponds, grab all that fish waste and move it somewhere. So that's the answer to your question, Dog Boy. Thanks for asking. Adrian Higgins asked, why can't you pump some of the hydro water through heater in a copper coil to raise the temp of the beds? Adrian, thanks for your question. I think what you're really asking is, with the wood stove that we have, why can't we wrap copper tube around it and then use that to put heat through the bottom of the grow lanes? That's a great question. Actually, we do have hydronic heating, meaning we have pipe with hot water going through it that's coming into these lanes. It's underneath of the fish tanks. I'll talk about that in more depth in another video, since so many people have asked questions about it. But what's supposed to be happening is that the digester that we have is supposed to generate methane. Methane will be burned to create hot water. Hot water will be pumped through the hydronic system underneath all of this and help keep everything warm. Now, it is running right now, even though our digester isn't, because I installed a temporary hot water heater that's runs off electricity, a very small tankless hot water heater that has 120 volts, not 240. And so we are running hot water underneath. It needs to get hotter, but that takes more electricity, so we got to kind of balance it. I also have bucket boilers down into the fish tanks themselves, directly in the water. The water in the fish tanks is staying right around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's because of three things. One, the heat from the earth. Two, the hydronic heating coming underneath of it. And three, the bucket boilers. So we do have that warm water running into the grow beds. So even when it gets really, really cold in here, I think this is why the microgreens and everything survive, is because the water that we're moving into the grow beds is actually significantly warmer than outside temperatures. So the grow beds themselves are significantly warmer. I just don't know how warm yet, and I'm going to when I put the thermometers in from the Arduinos. I'll know exactly what the temperature is in those beds, and I'm excited to see what that looks like. Thanks for your question, Adrian. BTB4T3S asked, that sounds like a Star Wars designation, can you not harvest heat from your digester, geothermal style? The answer to that, and also 103M95G, another Star Wars name, he asked, maybe I missed, but why aren't you making methane with the digester? Why not heat using methane? Both are great questions. In an earlier video, I encourage you all to go back, look at our system overview, as well as some of our earlier videos. You can tell which ones are early by the SOL number. That's actually solar days on Mars. So I put them in at the end. So hopefully the Google algorithm will still put me in the search results, but you can actually see what basically episode we're on. So I'd encourage you to go back in time and look at some of those earlier ones. But the answer to your question is, the digester has a loading problem. Manure floats and it needs to sink. So I'm going to talk about that in a lot of detail, but essentially what that means is I got the digester to work, I got heat off the digester, I got methane off the digester. But because I can't load it efficiently during the middle of winter, then the digester is simply shut down for right now. So we do have an anaerobic digester, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more because someone asked me about the Biodome too. I guess I might as well answer that one now. It was via email. Have you looked at Biodome, and what do you think you're doing differently from the guys who spent millions of dollars and couldn't make this work? Okay, what we're doing differently is that everything that you've seen so far, folks, I'll give you the totals. We're less than $100,000 invested into this project. Let that sink in. We've been able to figure out how to get this all put together. We're growing microgreens, and if we get those microgreens fully up to speed, we'll be making $125,000 a year in revenue off of microgreens. Our total investment will be over $100,000 by that point, but it'll be less than $150,000. That is a great return on investment. There's a lot more that goes into return on investment. I'm not going to talk about it, but essentially, those guys in Biodome spent hundreds of millions of dollars building a really fancy glass dome. There's been more than one of them. I've read them. I think the more interesting thing that comes out of what they did is the psychology of being confined. But can you go spend $100 million to build a dome? No, you can't. We're trying to figure out how to build essentially a biodome on the cheap. So for the farmers that are out there, you know that $150,000 gets you a really nice tractor. Okay, that's cool. I think, so put that in context, $125,000 for a tractor, it's a big farm tractor, or this system. That's what we're trying to do. So, Biodome, yeah, they spent a whole lot of money, but we're trying not to spend a whole lot of money. And one of the things I heard, bringing it back to digester, is that they're having a big problem. They had a big problem with waste management. Well, we don't. Put it in the digester. Done. All right. The biggest problem with human waste, though, is the things that we eat that are not pure. And that ruins some of the great byproducts of the waste that you can actually reuse it, but it doesn't stop the fact that you can put your human waste into a digester and generate lots of methane off of it and use that for energy. And then it sludges down just like a septic tank would. So, great questions. Arth A122 also asked, how come you can't burn some methane in place of emergency? I did burn some methane, but again, the digester is shut down right now. So come spring, when we get that bad boy up and running, we'll be able to use that methane. We do have storage tanks on site, as well as electric generator that will run off of methane to help offset our electrical costs. So spring's going to be fun. David Coakley, The Real Martian, why not use solar water heater to heat the water? Okay, so just not enough sun right now is the answer to that one, David. I looked at the different designs. Lots of pumps, more cost, and right now just not going to be something we're going to put in, especially when the digester is supposed to be doing all that for it. Water on the floor. Why are you trying to heat such a large space? Okay, well obviously I'm sitting inside of a tent and the building is huge. The building is 80 feet by 40 feet by 22 feet tall, and I'm inside of a tent that is roughly 60 feet long by 12 foot high and a little bit over on average 5 to 6 feet wide. That we're trying to heat this so that we learn how to do it. That's what this year is about, is learning, is getting this all figured out. We do have production in here, so that's a risk that we took. But this whole thing, all the way up to the ceiling, is supposed to be filled with microgreens. So in order for us to make 1 square foot of land worth significantly more than just 1 square foot. And this is part of the 2050 problem that we're trying to solve. If you've watched my behind the scenes, then you know that we feel very strongly about overpopulation. It's a simple mathematical inevitability, unless it's a giant war or plague or somehow we all kill ourselves, which in these days is probably not too far away. But by the year 2050, there'll be 9.5 billion people on the planet. That requires a 75% increase in agricultural output. And the best that we can do as a society right now is 33%. 33% is GMOs, hybrids, DNA altercation, extreme crop rotation, lots of fertilizers, technology brought in, everything. So we really have to solve this problem if we want to thrive still. And that's in my lifetime. So we take it very seriously and we're going to try to figure it out. So it's worth the risk right now for our microgreens to figure out how to heat this space. Now, Brad Vlogs asked, why not just put a layer of visqueen around the inside of the hab? It would be cheap and create an airspace and act as an insulator. Rummy's World has a similar one. You are fighting an uphill battle to trying to heat a large uninsulated space. If one of the goals is to fit a system in a shipping container, then why didn't you start with that? So, and then Mr. Power It Up, why not put everything into a double layer on this and just shut down one of the lanes? So let's try to answer all those questions. Humble pie time. I didn't think of insulation. All of you out there that have pointed that out, you have done so very well. I didn't think about it. I thought about aquaponics, I thought about lighting, I thought about how much light comes through the building, I thought about the digester, about methane, about electricity, about how to build all this, and then I went and built it all, and you're absolutely right. I did not think of insulation. That's going to change. I think a skin of plastic inside of the building is a great idea. We're going to do a video on it and figure out how to actually install it. You're asking about why not start small and put it in the shipping container first. That's easy. Other people have done that and they've run into problems with technology and shoving everything in there and making it really optimum. We have some requirements that are fairly aggressive as far as what the system can provide. Food for a family of 4, the digester, energy, all those things. Not just aquaponics in a box, but food and energy, sustainable food and energy in a box. That requires taking things that exist today or that don't exist today as far as technology goes and making them smaller. So when you want to make something small, you don't start off with a small thing. You start off with a big version to make sure you understand it, and then you start optimizing and you remove everything that's unnecessary, and then you get down to the basic, simplest things, and then you work on the technology to shrink it. So that's what we're going to do. The vision is, has been, still remains, that someday hopefully I'll be able to put a team together. I call that team G11, and we'll be able to walk in here as engineers and scientists and operators, people who really know how to do this, and point out all the things that are wrong, and then we can redesign it and make it a lot smaller. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Okay. Mark Cubitt asks, why a tent and not underground? And sorry folks if I kill your names. Why not a tent underground? I honestly didn't even think about underground. But I can tell you right now, underground has 2 challenges to me. First is drainage. We have about 8 foot of snow outside of this building piling up. And when that stuff starts to melt, there is a French drain that I put in out there that will help wick all that water away. But I'm really worried that a 22-foot structure underground, in order to get the vertical space we need, you know, you got to go up at least 12 feet to get this, but you're going to have to go higher. All that water is going to want to go to the lowest point, so you're going to have some heavy-duty reinforcement on those walls, which is the second problem. How to reinforce those walls efficiently. Concrete is, and waterproof. You put wood up, you're just going to have water seeping in all over the place. It's all going to rot, it's eventually going to fall apart. Even if you did pressure treat, it's just a matter of time. Concrete seems to be the best way. Steel is just, that's not even on the table. Maybe plastic, inflated plastic, reinforced plastic might work, like creating a bubble underground. But it would have to be reinforced and it would have to be really strong to handle the water forces pushing in on it. Not to mention, you're down there, you have to build structure on top of it, so you do need to reinforce it structurally so that it doesn't collapse on you. That's another challenge. And the final challenge I have is the same one that I have with the solar panels. We have lots of snow here. Even if I put a really steep roof, which I would, on an underground system that has the nice clear plastic on top, which a lot of you have suggested, I have to get that snow out of the way. So thinking about clearing snow is very, very important to me. And finally, the last challenge is production scale operation underground would require disabled people access, so you're looking at an elevator. Not to mention you're carrying things in and out, in and out, in and out, and then building all that. The manufacturing, the actual process of building it would be something that required engineering onto itself. So I really like the idea. That insulation factor is huge, and certainly for the Mars trip, underground would be a great option. Something to look at. Kevin Byron asked, I don't understand why you don't heat your greenhouse with compost. It's a production facility. We want to get it organic certified. I'm concerned about bacteria, but most importantly, we don't have the room for it. The digester is in here. That's what we're going to be using. And if we were to bring bins in and have everything compost in here, I just don't have the space right now. I'll put some video up that shows that. That's a good question though. Daryl Allen asked, please try using BTOs from your animals. Yep, Daryl, you're absolutely right. That's what the digester's for. Just haven't got there yet. Max Van Aaron asked, why don't you use geothermal? The reason for that is because we priced it. It's $40,000 to have somebody install it. It's roughly $20,000 to do it yourself. And remember, we got into this whole thing and we're still under the 100,000 mark. So that's one big reason why. We wouldn't have been able to do the aquaponics or anything if we would have put geothermal in, which meant we'd have a really cool building with nothing inside of it, but it'd be nice and warm. So the reason really also comes down to electricity. That geothermal, it still requires a heat pump. Unless you do the passive geothermal, which, to be honest, I didn't think of. So I think in Habitat 2 Phase 4, when we get there, I definitely want to sink some culvert pipe underground, 8 feet underground, like many of you have pointed out, and actually pull that geothermal there. We might even do a modification to this where we put the passive geothermal in. You're going to get 54 degrees out of it, you know, but in the winter that would be great. So that might be a serious rework, that we bring a micro excavator in here and actually dig stuff up. So great question. Invincible Osprey, I'm a little confused on why you're sending the dehumidified air out of the system. Shouldn't you cycle it back into the lanes? Sorry, Invincible Osprey, that I didn't show it clearly, but we are in fact recycling everything back into the lanes. So it is a closed loop system. Every piece of air that's getting dehumidified is coming back into the system, with the exception of that which goes through the chimney, because that's where all the air flows through, down into the stove pit. Now, with our new heater solution, which is really, really nice, by the way, it's very comfortable in here. We're not going to be using that wood stove, so I'll be able to shut that down, and that it'll be even more closed loop. So, great question. Ben Poliquin, again, sorry if I hurt your name there. If you get a chance to read this, the reason I got a little disinterested in my channel, I added that piece, is because it seemed to me like things were disjointed. You know, the whole Mars and Earth thing and what I was saying didn't really make sense. I'm starting to see how it is. I would really appreciate if, when explaining some of the technologies that you use, if you would be very explicit in saying whether or not the technology you would use would be different if you were just using it on Earth. Ben, obviously you and I have traded some back and forth on our comments column, so I really appreciate your questions and your statements here. I'm going to broaden yours a little bit to everybody, because there's a fairly general thought process out there about why am I even doing this whole Mars thing? Why don't I just shut up and just talk about Earth? Well, we kind of the behind the scenes and the intro video for the channel, I talk about the fact that this needs to be fun. I'm a former Air Force aerospace engineer. I wanted to be an astronaut. Mars is definitely something I really care about, and it's fun for me just to think about it. And it has to be fun to do these videos because they're a lot of work. So that's one reason. But let's talk about it in ways that actually really matter. So to all you preppers out there, think about your place where you want to be when everything goes bad. Do you have people bringing you stuff all the time? Is the vision in your head of a place that's somewhat isolated? If so, then tell me a place that would be more isolated than Mars if a person was to be living on it, other than a planet further away. By thinking about things on Mars, I'm obviously not building for Mars, right? But I am thinking about it, because by imagining that you're there, you have to think through a lot of things that preppers or people who want to live off-grid would have to think of. I mean, there is no more off-grid than Mars. That's off-planet grid. So yeah, it's kind of like the microgreens, you know, it really makes you think through the fact that you're not going to have seed. You can't get enough. So obviously you're not going to take microgreens up there. We're doing microgreens to make money here to help finance all this. But yeah, you're not going to take microgreens up there, and the seeds, you're going to have to get them. So if you wanted to truly prep, if you wanted to be off-grid, if you wanted to really be fully self-sufficient, where are your seeds going to come from? How are you going to get them? So see, thinking about it on Mars really forces you to think through all the details here on Earth. And quite frankly, everybody here on Earth has it easy compared to Mars. If you really want to be off-grid, you've got to be thinking about not having access to anybody. How are you going to do that? And Mars is a place that really can be a thought experiment that forces you to think through it. So by thinking about it on Mars, by thinking about this whole thing and saying, what would I do if I was on Mars? How would I do it if I was on Mars? One, I drive down weight, which means I drive down materials, which means I think about construction. I think about how I'm going to assemble it. It's got to be easy. People need to be able to put it together without a lot of heavy equipment. On Earth, I have heavy equipment. I have lots of people. I have resources available to me. I can go cut a tree down if I needed to. On Mars, you can't do that. So again, Mars is a thought experiment on this channel, but it forces us to truly optimize this system so that we don't sit there and take advantage of the resources we have. I have somebody at work, she just did an Engineers Without Borders, and she came back from South Africa. And it really puts it in perspective. A lot of us here in the United States, we take everything we have for granted. They don't even have running water or electricity on a stable basis. They're using toilets that are trough toilets, and this is the 21st century. You can't go just plug in down there. You need to have a system that really works, so that is self-contained, that has everything with it, because there is no infrastructure there. And it's not just there. There's lots of places on the planet, on Earth, that are like that. So by putting this system together, by thinking of it on Mars, we get rid of all the stuff that we take for granted here in the United States, or elsewhere in the world where you have electricity, like in Europe. It's just, you really have to think through everything. And Mars is a way for me that's fun, and it really forces me to think through everything. So that's why we're doing it that way. I will try to do better at pointing that stuff out. I try not to put too much in there. I know my camera malfunctioned the other night. People thought I did it on purpose. I didn't. The heads-up display, I'm actually trying to get that to be live. Once I get the Arduinos in, I need to write some software so that that overlay actually is on the as an app pulling real live data. I actually want that. I want to be able to monitor all those things. So I think that's just a stepping stone. I think it's cool. So sorry if you don't like it. I really do. And yeah, so that's why we're thinking about Mars. Wow, this is a long video. Sorry for that, but lots of questions there. I was trying to get through. This is all for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you watch it. Be sure to like us and subscribe to the channel. That really helps us build up some revenue coming from YouTube, so that helps us pay for everything. In the next few videos, some cool topics we're going to be going over. I'm going to start talking about the fish. We're going to talk about insulation, a lot about insulation. We're going to talk about Arduinos and putting together automation, and I'm going to actually show you me building them, see some code running. Some of you like it, some of you won't, but that's stuff coming up. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen. We got 80,000 more subscribers to go to the 100,000 mark, so maybe you all can help us get to that point this year. That would be a fairly big stretch goal. So, oh, excuse me. Anyway, that's what we got. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for following us. This is The Real Martian. You all take care.